We were last time looking at some things that hinder our understanding of the Bible or the Scriptures. We mentioned that the idea that we cannot know, we cannot understand it. It's a supernatural book. So it's just beyond our understanding, our capability. But in reality, it's not. God wrote it in such a way that we can understand it. Then there's that view that the Bible was only given to a chosen few. That was propagated in particular by the Roman Catholic Church. They had to go and ask the priest as to what it meant, because the common person could not understand it. They had to have, should I say, help in misunderstanding. Well, they were told you can't understand it. The only ones that can are the ones who have been through the priestly schools and studied it in that specialized way, so you can understand it. And go ask them. Then we started looking at not calling upon the helps that are available to us. We mentioned Bibles. Now, we need to have a good study Bible, and that should be probably King James or American Standard. To a lesser extent, there's the New King James, the New American Standard. And even though I don't recommend it because of a couple of what I would call fatal errors that are in it, the ESV. But other than that, those few areas in which it has fatal error, overall it is a good translation. Young's literal translation, even though it's older, is an excellent work. It is difficult to read simply because it's trying to adhere more and more to the original Greek. And Greek order of words and English order of words are not always the same. And then there's a lot of others. If you look at those Bible translations primarily as commentaries, they can serve us a great amount of good, because they are basically a commentary. They're a paraphrase of God's Word. So those other translations, as they call them, can be valuable in our study of the Bible. Now, again, as far as a good, reliable translation that we use as our main study Bible, again, I would go back to the King James or the American Standard of 1901, that is. But then books. There are a lot of books that can help us in our understanding. And so we started looking at different things, and we're going to continue that tonight. We mentioned concordances. Concordances are not as important today as they used to be because of the online Bible and the searching capabilities of online Bibles. But Young's, which I grew up on and using, but also Strong's. Strong's became more popular, and it was a numbering key that was used. Each Greek word had a number that was assigned to it, and a lot of other books, and in fact, I know a couple of Bibles that just always inserted the Strong's number in as it was translating it. Well, it made it easy to find all the occurrences of that word. Now then, as we say that, let me warn against one idea that pops up, and that is that simply because a word is used in one context does not mean that it means the same thing in another context. If you look at the word bat, B-A-T, am I talking about the flying animal, or am I talking about a baseball bat? You don't know. The context has to determine it. And if you took the one word and let's just say bat just means the animal, and the boy hit the ball with the bat. He took that animal and hit. Of course, it doesn't make sense. Well, the same word, but it means different things in different contexts. And you could use that. There's hundreds of words that you could use like into that. In fact, if you look at a good dictionary, it will oftentimes give you multiple definitions. Sometimes the definitions can almost read like a book by itself. Why? Because it's used in so many various ways. So, need to guard against simply because it's used in one way doesn't mean that it's always used that way. There was a person on a group that he was a Greek scholar, denominational person, a rank liberal, but he knew his Greek. He said that, kind of expressed it, he wished all of Strong's concordances were gathered together and burned up. He did not appreciate Strong's at all. And there are some reasons why. It has its shortcomings, but for most people it was very good and it was profitable. Encyclopedias, in particular Bible encyclopedias. I mentioned ISBE, or International Standard Bible Encyclopedia. I think it's 4 volumes. We have it in the library. McClintock and Strong, which is 10 or 11 volumes. They take Bible words and they give you extensive meanings of those words. And McClintock and Strong's we have in the library. There's just a multitude of encyclopedias. And there's a ton of material in those encyclopedias. We mentioned lexicons and dictionaries. I think for the common person who does not know the original language, Vine's Expository Dictionary of New Testament Words, or Biblical Words. And I'm doing this because there's several different editions of Vine's. One of them is just the New Testament words. One of them is, for Old Testament, it used a different set of dictionary, and they joined it together with Vine's New Testament words. W. Vine was actually an Old Testament scholar, which is, he was working on the Old Testament, doing it like he did the New Testament, except death came upon him. He did not finish it. He did not get very far. So, but there is a Vine's Old Testament dictionary as well. Mounce's Complete Expository Dictionary is a good one along that line. Basically doing the same thing. You can go use an English word and then go to the English word and it will show you all the Greek words that are translated. I say all, not always all of them, but translated by that English word. So that makes it easy to study. Vine's has been a favorite of brethren through the years. But Mounce's is a little bit newer, but does the same thing. If you can recognize the Greek, BDAG is probably the newest full lexicon of the New Testament. That's Danker, Bauer, Danker, Arndt, Gingrich. That's what it is. Danker became, on the third edition, the main one who did all of the work. Of course, Arndt and Gingrich at that time, I think both of them were dead when the third edition came out. Thayer, you hear a lot of brethren using Thayer. Excellent work as far as a lexicon, but it's, again, older and a little bit dated on some things. Those, you have to know Greek, though, in order to use them, because it goes by the Greek words. Then our friend Spiros, Zodhiatus or something like that, his complete word study dictionary is excellent work. Highly recommend it. Then commentaries. That's where we ended last time. There's a lot of different types of commentaries. Now, when I say that, there's a lot of overlap in that. But to start with, the one-volume commentaries. That is, you have one volume covering the entire Bible, or else covering the Old Testament or the New Testament. Now then, by its very nature, it's going to be skip a whole lot of information. It's not going to go into great depth. But Johnson's notes that brethren used to carry around all the time was a one-volume commentary set. That's not really a set, but one-volume commentary. Brother Jerry Moffitt had a commentary that way, Moffitt's Bible Commentary. Again, by its very nature, it's going to be very brief, not going to give much elaboration, it's going to skip over a lot of things, just the way it is because of the brevity of it. Then there's one book commentaries. I think I mentioned Moses Lard's, his commentary on Romans. Foy Wallace's commentary on Revelation, or the book of Revelation is what that one's called. Just as a couple of illustrations, there's a whole lot of others. Excellent works dealing with that specific book. Then I think we ended up talking about sets, like Adam Clark's commentary. I believe that one's 6 volumes, covering the Old and New Testament. Might be 5, I'm not sure. But it's one that brethren have used a great deal. Denominational material for certain, but still has some excellent material in it. Barnes Notes. It started out, and I didn't know this at first, 77 volumes. Barnes Notes. I had never seen that, and still haven't. No, these are commentary sets. Now, if you're talking about, for example, Barnes Notes, it has various publishers because it is in the public domain, and once it becomes public domain, anyone can publish it. But they reduced the 77 volumes and combined a bunch of the books to where I think it was 24 volumes that I saw. I did see one time in which I think they abridged it, where it was Barnes Notes in 1 volume. Now get out your magnifying glass to read it, but I don't think that went over too well because the print was so small. But I say there's different types of commentaries. I'm going to try and give some types of commentaries as well. Start off with critical commentaries. That's what they're called many times. These are commentary sets that deal with the text of the Bible a lot, to a great extent. For common person, forget it. Don't even look at them. But things like International Critical Commentary Set, the Yale University Anchor Bible, Yale University Press Anchor Bible, Cambridge Bible for Schools and Colleges. I mean, that's 3 of the many. For what they are, they're excellent works, but again, common person, forget about it. Then there's exegetical commentaries. Now then, you might recognize the term exegesis that we talked about a few months back. Exegesis is drawing everything out of a passage and drawing conclusions. That's the deducting aspect of it. But Lenski's work, he's a Lutheran, very conservative. His is, and these are again generally more technical than what most people would need, but Lenski's is good work. United Bible Society's handbooks, the World Bible Commentaries, and I think again that one has around 70 some odd volumes. The IVP, New Testament commentaries. These are more exegetical commentaries that go into the depth of a greater depth of the verse than what most people are interested in and what most people need. And then there's expository commentaries. By the term expository, can you think of what they might be dealing with? Tim probably knows, but preaching, that's what they're more dealing with. And thus it does go a little bit into the specifics of the verses, but it's also more directed toward the preaching aspect from that verse. Commentaries such as Holman New Testament Commentary or Nicole's Expository Bible, the Bible Exposition Commentary, and Worsaby's Expository Outlines. I didn't check as to whether all of these are in the library or not. I know a lot of them are not, but many of them you can find online. What becomes more important to us, though, a fifth area, I guess, of commentaries would be devotional commentaries. Matthew Henry is a good devotional type series. Barclay's Daily Bible Study. Again, that is it's very unusual. He is extremely liberal to the point that he doesn't even know, in reality, believe the Bible. But yet, he wrote this daily Bible study material, and it is excellent material overall. And it's great material, but it's a daily study Bible. And then I mentioned, of course, Johnson's notes. It's actually called the People's New Testament, or Johnson's The People's New Testament. But those are devotional type, more devotional in their orientation, more so than probably what most members of the church would want to look at. But then there's application commentaries, would be the sixth category that I would have. Worsaby's, and it's called B series. That's B-E series. It's a series of books that he wrote that deal primarily with an application of the scriptures to our life. So these are good commentaries along that line. Again, Johnson's would fall under that, the People's New Testament. There's a series called Opening Up. For example, Opening Up Matthew, Opening Up Mark, and so forth, which, again, deal more with the application. A lot of times brethren ask me, what commentary should I get? And I'm kind of like, you can't answer that very easily. I would have to know what you intend in relationship to it. What's your level of knowledge of the Bible in relationship to it? Are you wanting application? Are you wanting devotional? Are you wanting exposition? Are you wanting homiletics? Are you wanting to dig into the text of the Bible and textual, whether it's a part of the Bible, or what do you want out of it? And what a commentary that would interest me, for example, might not be of any interest to you. You might not even be able to use it very well. One that would be of great interest to you might not be of great interest to me. All of them have their place, though. Some of them more valuable than others.
Someone comes up to you, ask that question. thought it was important to tell them that these men were not Christians.
Yeah.
So you're going to find some error in it from time to time. But that doesn't mean you just throw it out.
I'm not sure that there is a commentary set or series that I have not disagreed with.
And generally, you know where they're going to go. This is where they're going to refuse to accept the truth.
True.
Baptism.
Baptism, you could go to Acts 2:38 and almost invariably you're going to have some disagreements about it. But that doesn't mean that they're not profitable. The ones that I've mentioned in relationship to the commentaries, as far as I know, none of them other than, and I'm not sure about Johnson's notes. You know if he was a member of the church? I was thinking he was, but I'm not positive. Other than that one, well, none of them are. But that doesn't mean that the work is not valuable and that you cannot gain a great deal from them.
They were more faithful to the word at that time.
Yeah, that's true. You could look at, in looking at commentaries, you could also look at the different time periods in which they were written. If you look today, can I use the term, they're more going to be fluff, filled with a bunch of nothingness. You look back a couple of years ago, they were filled with a lot of good material, digging into the Word. So you can go back and there's commentaries and writings by what's referred to as the church fathers. And you can look at those. So it is a wide variety of things, but the point is, look at the helps that are available to us. Then lectureship books. And that's lectureships by our brethren. Generally, the lectureship series by our brethren, very good material, excellent material. So understand that. Being a lectureship, they have various authors who are dealing with a specific part of the book. Because you have different authors, very simply, some are a whole lot better than others. As I look at lectureship books by our brethren, there's some material that I don't care about reading what he has to say because he doesn't really have much to say. There's others, on the other hand, that might be in the same book that I want to pay attention to what he has to say because of the respect that I have for him and his knowledge. So you're going to have that. One nice thing about the lectureship books is that you generally do not have to weed out as much or filter out as much false doctrine. Generally speaking, the lectureships by our brethren will have truth in them, and it will weed out the false doctrine. Not always, but I'm just saying generally speaking. And even those that we would disagree with, generally speaking, they are going to be of such a nature that it's not going to be damning false doctrine. Might be wrong, but it's not damning false doctrine. The next thing that I want to talk about, though, as far as helps, is Bible programs. And with this, talk about some online material. When you talk about Bible programs, I'll plug what I use, Logos. I think it is the best Bible program available. Now then, would I recommend everyone get it? No, which might surprise some people. It is expensive. Just ask Karen. She rolls her eyes. It has by far the most extensive library available, but you pay for the books. And by paying for the books, I mean there's a lot that you can pay for along that line. But as far as a Bible program, there's just none that comes close to it. As far as the ease of study and the availability of material that they have, that it has. The other aspect of it, though, because of the depth of material that it does have, it is more difficult to use. They are working on that and making it better and easier, but it's still difficult to use to a great extent. But once you learn how to use it, it becomes fairly easy. I've had it for I don't know how many years, and I got to where I knew what I wanted out of it and had it set up for that. And I failed to learn a lot of what was in the program. Tried to, the past few years, learn what's in the program. That sounds good, doesn't it, once you buy it and spend a bunch of money on it. But that's going to be true with any Bible program. Whatever you use, you're going to need to learn to use it. I will mention accordance. That is only a Mac operating system type program. It's easier to use, does not have the number of books available that Logos does, and it's more on the expensive side as well. I've never used it, so I can't really say. Speed was a thing that they touted. It was a lot faster than Logos, but Logos has caught up on speed. It's very fast until you start using artificial intelligence with it. And simply because I say artificial intelligence, don't get scared, because it's very helpful. And they guard it in relationship as to what they use. Then there's eSword. A lot of brethren use eSword. Good, small Bible program. There are some books that you can buy to help out in your eSword program. I haven't looked at it for several years, so I can't really say too much about it. When I did look at it years back, I liked the layout that it had and some of the things which it did possess. But again, it's just a small program. It doesn't have a whole lot of books that you can have, but it does allow note-taking and things like that. Oh, it does have Spiros?
That's what you have to buy.
Yeah, you have to
You
see.
can add on.
Yeah, there's add-on books that you can buy, and Spiros would be one of those, his complete dictionary. I don't know how much it costs or anything. Do you know offhand?
I wouldn't say $60 or something.
60, something like that?
Nothing like.
Yeah, it's nothing like Logos. Another small program that I used more on my phone years and years ago was Olive Tree. They also have, I think now, a program for the regular computer. So, and I believe it is cross-platform, either Windows or Mac. I know Logos is like that. eSword is more PC-oriented. I don't think that they have a Mac program out, actually. Which that does become important. Olive Tree is, again, a free program, but you can add books to it. I will mention that Logos does have a free aspect. There's a free program in relationship to Logos, but it is very, very limited. I'm not even sure how many books it offers, but it does get you started. So those are some Bible programs. There might be others out there. I remember a few years back there was Theophilus. And I will just mention that there was a guy going around touting the value of Theophilus. He got dubbed to put all of his lectureship books on a CD that had Theophilus, and they were designed for Theophilus. He talked to me about getting our lectureship books the same way. So I downloaded it, looked at it, and even for a free program at that time, I thought it was rather rotten. Bad thing about it was Dub, because it was purely PC and Dub only had Windows or only had Mac, he couldn't really test it out beforehand. But that one has gone, no longer exists even. So that is one thing, one of the problems with Bible programs. They start out, I know a lot of brethren used to use Bible Works. It doesn't exist anymore. And in fact, they sold most of their material to Logos. But then online, there's a lot of online stuff that you can get. I have about 6 different websites that are this way. The first, BibleStudyTools.com. BibleStudyTools, TOOLS.com. And I really haven't looked at these all that much. I just glanced over them as I was preparing all of this material. A second, Bible Gateway, BibleGateway.com. Tim approves that one.
I've used it.
Oh, he says he's used it.
The Bible Hub.
for the phone. But BibleGateway.com. A third one, Study Light, and that's studylight.org, O-R-G. And again, I just glanced over these. I can't really say much about them, simply because I've never really used them. A fourth, blueletterbible.org. blueletterbible.org, O-R-G. Fifth, BibleHub.com. Bible and H-U-B, hub.com. And then my Bible program has a website as well that does this, bible.faithlife.com. bible.faithlife.com. And by the way, you can sign up for a free version. If you go to these, you can access it, but if you will create an account with them, even though you don't sign up for anything other than the account, it will give you more books available. That's bible.faithlife.com. Or, and this is basically the same thing, bible.faithlife.com. Or the easier one, app.logos.com. So there's 6 different websites that you can call upon as far as helps in studying the Bible. These things are available to us. Why won't we use them? You want to understand the verse? If you can't find what you really need in one of them, go to a different one. That's why we're saying forth, and there might be others, I don't know. And I say, it's good material. Don't cheat yourself by failing to look up these and use these available helps. We will start with that then next week.